हरे कृष्ण प्रभु जी।
हरे कृष्ण। जय राधा माधवा कुंज बिहारी, जय राधा माधवा कुंज बिहारी, गोपी जना वल्लभा गिरिवरधारी, गोपी जना वल्लभा गिरिवरधारी, यशोदानंदन ब्रज जन रंजना, यशोदानंदन ब्रज जन रंजना, यमुना तीरा वनचारी, यमुना तीरावनचारी, जय राधा माधवा कुंज बिहारी, जय राधा माधवा कुंज बिहारी, गोपी जना वल्लभा गिरिवरधारी, गोपी जना वल्लभा गिरिवरधारी, यशोदानंदन व्रज जन रंजना, यशोदानंदन व्रज जन रंजना, यमुना तीरावनचारी, यमुना तीरावनचारी, हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे हरे, हरे राम 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 हरे हरे, हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे हरे, हरे राम 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 हरे हरे, हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे हरे, हरे राम 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 हरे हरे, हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे हरे, हरे राम 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 हरे हरे, हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे हरे, हरे राम राम हरे हरे, हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे हरे, हरे राम राम हरे हरे, जय गौरांगी बेंगलुरीश्वर, गौरांगी बेंगलुरीश्वर गौरांगी, जय जगन्नाथ बलदेवा, जय सुभद्रा जय सुदर्शना, जय जगन्नाथ जय बलदेवा, जय सुभद्रा जय सुदर्शना, जय निताय चैतन्य, जय निताय चैतन्य, निताय चैतन्य, जय निताय चैतन्य, जय निताय चैतन्य, जय निताय चैतन्य, निताय चैतन्य, जय निताय चैतन्य, जय लक्ष्मी नरसिंह, जय अनंत देव, प्रह्लाद नरसिंह, जय अनंत देव, जय लक्ष्मी नरसिंह, जय अनंत देव, जय ओम विष्णुपाद परमहंस परिव्रजाकाचार्य अष्टोत्तर सदस्य श्रीमद अभय चरणारविंद भक्ति वेदांत स्वामी श्रील प्रभुपाद की जय। जय ओम विष्णुपाद परमहंस परिव्रजाकाचार्य अष्टोत्तर सदस्य श्रीमद भक्ति सिद्धांत सरस्वती गोस्वामी महाराज श्रील प्रभुपाद की जय। अनंत कोटि वैष्णव वृंद की जय। नामाचार्य श्री हरिदास ठाकुर की जय। प्रेम से कहो श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभो नित्यानंदा श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासादि गौरभक्त वृंद की जय। श्री श्री राधा कृष्ण गोप गोपीनाथ श्याम कुंड राधा कुंड गिरि गोवर्धन की जय। ब्रजभूमि श्री वृंदावन धाम की जय। मायापुर श्री नवद्वीप धाम की जय। मथुरा धाम की जय। द्वारका धाम की जय। जगन्नाथपुरी धाम की जय। गंगा माई की जय। यमुना माई की जय। भक्ति देवी की जय। तुलसी महारानी की जय। समवेत गौरभक्त वृंद की जय। गौरभक्त प्रेमानंदे हरि हरि बोल। ऑल ग्लोरीज टू द assembled devotees हरे कृष्णा। ऑल ग्लोरीज टू द assembled devotees हरे कृष्णा। All glories to the assembled devotees Hare Krishna. All glories, all glories, all glories to be Shri Guru and Shri Gauranga. Jai Shri Prabhupada. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Narayanam Namaskritya Naram Chaiva Narottamam देवीं सरस्वतीं व्यासं ततो जयमुदीरये। नष्टप्रायेषु अभद्रेषु नित्यं भागवतसेवया। भगवती उत्तमश्लोके भक्तिर्भवति नैष्टकी। हरि ओम तत्सत्। So Hare Krishna devotees, welcome for ISKCON Seshadripuram's morning Srimad Bhagavatam class. Today I have been asked to take up 4th canto, 10th chapter, and as an exception we will be doing the full chapter this time, not the first part or second part like that. The reason being, in this chapter, this is basically the chapter where Dhruva Maharaj fights with the Yakshas. So here it's more about the battle rather than any philosophy, because in philosophy you don't simply, while in battle, it's very difficult to talk philosophy, right? So actually I was hearing one of our Maharajas giving class in our old temple, Seshadripuram temple. I think Bhakti Vinod Maharaj. So he was saying, like, in a battle, during battle, when Arjuna was, after, of course, Bhagavad Gita was spoken in the battle, but it is not like during the fight happening, right? It is just before the fight. So I was saying, during the battle, it's not like Arjuna will be very sattvic and then saying, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, like that. He will not be. He will say, yeah, rascal, you die, Hare Krishna, like that, So that is, I remember this one. So here there's not much of a philosophy. There are a little bit, Prabhupada has given purport only for just 3 verses in this whole chapter. So it's more of a reading session. So please bear with me, very little commentary, and therefore when Prabhupada has not given much commentary, there's nothing much that I can speak of myself out of my own wisdom. So we will start now. So Srimad Bhagavatam, 4th canto, 10th chapter. This chapter, the canto is called The Creation of the Fourth Order, and the chapter 10, that is called Dhruva Maharaja's Fight with the Yakshas. Maitreya Uvacha Prajapatir Duhitaram Shishumarasya Vaidruvaha Upayeme Brahmin Nama Tatsutau Kalpa Vatsarau. Word by word meaning. Maitreya Uvacha, the great sage Maitreya continued. Prajapatehe, of the Prajapati, Duhitaram, daughter. Sishumarasya, of Sishumara, why? Certainly. Dhruvaha, Dhruva Maharaj. Upayeme, married. Brahmin, Brahmi. Nama, named. Tat Sutau, her sons. Kalpa, Vatsarau, Vatsara. Translation. The great sage Maitreya said, My dear Vidura, thereafter Dhruva Maharaja married the daughter of Prajapati Sishumara, whose name was Brahmi, and two sons named Kalpa and Vatsara were born of her. So this is one purport Prabhupada has given, and then later maybe one or two we will read this purport. It appears that Dhruva Maharaja married after being installed on the throne of his father and after the departure of his father to the forest for self-realization. It is very important to note in this connection that since Maharaja Uttanapada was greatly affectionate towards his son, and since it is the duty of the father to get his sons and daughters married as quickly as possible, why did he not get his son married before he left home? The answer is that Maharaja Uttanapada was a Rajarishi, saintly king. Although he was busy in his political affairs and duties of government management, he was very anxious for self-realization. Therefore, as soon as his son Dhruva Maharaja was quite worthy to take charge of the government, he took this opportunity to leave home, just like his son who, without fear, left home for self-realization, even at the age of 5 years. These are rare instances from which we can see that the importance of spiritual realization is above all other important work. Maharaja Uttanapada knew very well that to get his son Dhruva Maharaja married was not so important that it should take a preference to his going away to the forest for self-realization. So, I'm sorry, I think I did not share it. I will share it as I go forward. So here, setting the scene that, we all know, here Dhruva Maharaja had, was doing penance for 6 months, and he had the darshan of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Lord Narayana. So he appeared, and then we know all the incidents that happened thereafter, that Lord Narayana actually gave him the benefit that you will rule over this material world from the planet of Dhruva Loka, which is the highest planet, where even the great, the greatest of great devotees worship that planet, kind of a thing. The great saintly persons used to worship, and even the Devatas did not have access to this planet. So, to that in that planet, he will be ruling over that planet, and he will live for 36,000 years. 36,000 years is not an ordinary time. And the Lord said, after that, at the end of this 36,000 years, Dhruva Maharaja will of course die, because in material world everything has to come to an end. And normally, if you are enjoying for 36,000 years, then it is clearly hell, right? The people, I'm generally talking of people in general, that, if you live for 36,000 years, there is so much of karma that we have accumulated. And most of it will be sinful, because you have the access to everything in the world, right? There is nothing short of access. You can access anything and everything. Generally, we see today, even if I have little Lakshmi, little power, we start exploiting that. We start misusing that left, right and center, and as a result incur a lot of negative karma, or bad karma, leads to hellish life later. But here Dhruva Maharaja lived for 36,000 years, and the Lord said, you will enjoy all the material things. But actually Prabhupada in that verse, many verses before, so Prabhupada writes here, enjoying means he is actually spiritually positioned, Dhruva Maharaj. So he was actually enjoying spiritual bliss even in this material world, as in, he specifically said, you will give lot of yajna, you will do lot of, austerities like that. So he enjoyed these things, and therefore he was blemishless, Dhruva Maharaj. And at the end of 36,000 years, the Lord had given him that benediction, that you will yadgatva nanivartante. That, in fact, he uses those specific words where he will go to the planet from which he will not come back. That is basically the Vaikuntha planets where the Lord is residing. So he will go back to the spiritual world after 36,000 years of ruling over this material world. And if you are living for 36,000 years as at the helm of affairs here, if you are talking about our governments, 5 years here, and US we saw a few days back, new administration was installed. That president has 4 years of power. and there you can be elected only twice, and that means even if you are continuously elected, or even in two gaps of two, you only have 8 years to be the supreme person in that small locality. But Dhruva Maharaj, king of Vaikuntha planet, and like there is nobody to challenge him. That means he is the most powerful. Just imagine, most powerful. So here his conquests are beginning. So in this stage, in this thing, the Yakshas, so that is what we are seeing. So in this context is being set there, that as soon as Dhruva Maharaj returned back from the forest, his father, he went through his anxiety that son has gone away like this, and he realized that it's a big mistake, and he was repenting. All this happens. See, that's why I keep saying this Bhagavatam is not an ordinary scripture or any kind of a novel or something like that, where it's kind of the imagination of an author who takes it in the way he likes it, right? Okay, he takes the story, he actually, what do you call, sculptures the characters in a way that he wants to sculpture it. But in Bhagavatam, it is history. So it is not like partial to something, impartial to some character, not partial to another character, not like that. Bhagavatam states facts as it is. There is nothing to interpret there. So here when you saw Uttanapada earlier, why did the small boy, 5-year-old boy, have to go through all these austerities? At that time when you were reading that section, you would have felt, oh, what is this Uttanapada? And in the beginning of this chapter, not this chapter, when the Uttanapada, that section came, literally the Dhruva Maharaj episode came, there actually Prabhupada mentions, here in this discussion itself it is mentioned, that Maitreya Muni, and that discussion itself it is mentioned that they were like Narayana, like that, something like that. That means they are not ordinary people. They are like, very powerful, very great personalities, not simply what do you call karmic personalities, this Uttanapada and all. But still, why did he do like that, right? Why did he fall a prey to his wife's vices? So this is what I was talking about Bhagavatam. There are some small spots somewhere for different characters, but they are also not hidden and pushed under the carpet, right? Oh, this and all, let us not talk about this. When this great personality is there, why do you talk about his weakness, for his wife? So let's just brush it under the carpet. No, he talked about that, and it came out very clearly at that time that why he is listening to his wife and making what do you call, hurting such a small child as 5-year-old child. But he was not able to talk against his wife's words. She spoke right in front of him only, and she gave a message to him also in one of the verses, so that he gets the message that her son should be the next king, like that. But he kept quiet because he had this weakness for his second wife, attraction, and then he had to listen to her. But that is just a small thing, so people should not get, oh, he was like that. We should not be going after this kind of things, like, oh, take such examples and say, oh, Uttanapada himself did, why not? So Prabhupada once in another thing, Lord Brahma, Lord Brahma, I'm talking about Lord Brahma here, he went after his own daughter. So you just can't imagine, even in today's world, no gentleman will never even have such thing. It is abominable. It is never thought through. But then, that fraction of a second, he created one of the jivas, and naturally it was daughter, and he got attracted to that personality, and then because of which he had to commit suicide. That's how you see they say in the fog. How does the fog appeared? The fog appeared when Brahma committed suicide, and it became a fog. So at that kind of a history, when you see, people feel, oh, Brahma himself doing all this nonsense. So Prabhupada writes, so don't talk about those things. It's not about the Brahma's little blemish that he had. We should look at those episodes to understand, oh, if this can happen to Lord Brahma, who am I? How vulnerable I am, how careful I need to be. So this is our devotees is not try to pass a commentary on, oh, Brahma himself like that, it's okay if I am little here and there. No, no. We should be careful. Such great things, such things can happen even to such great personalities. What is my position? I am such a fallen soul, so I need to be very careful in leading a life in this material world. So material world is not an easy place to live. It's very, very difficult. Therefore, one needs to be very careful. One needs to follow the acharya and the spiritual master, and one needs to be in devotee association, and one needs to be very careful about all the austerities, tapasya, so that the senses do not stand up. And it's very difficult. That is the journey of Krishna consciousness. It's easily said than done, but then this endeavor has to be there all through our life. It's such a life journey that we need to keep on going, and of course one day we will certainly come to that point. So here Uttanapada is very serious person, actually even in self-realization, and that is seen. Just imagine how many material people now we are all saying, okay, I am now thing, but I have to take care of my daughters, I have to take care of my son's education, my son's college, my son's job, and then my son's son, I have to do the babysitting for my grandchildren, and possibly I will even hope for my great grandchildren to come and I want to see them before I die. Like how many times you have heard such dialogues? Oh, if I can see my great grandchild, my life will be fulfilled. Some people who are in their 90s and 80s, they will talk like this. But then here is Uttanapada who said, okay, it's enough. Let me just wind up and go for my self-realization. So in those days, the idea of self-realization is going to the forest. Today, the idea of self-realization, sitting like this, and talking about Krishna, listening to Krishna's activities, doing some service in some temple, somewhere preaching, somewhere doing some devotional activity, doing some kirtan. Because this forest is also forest, no, concrete jungle they call it. So instead of the green jungle, we are all in concrete jungle. But it doesn't matter in which jungle we are. We are in a jungle and we have to do devotional service. That is the verdict of the Shastras. So he just wound up his material activities, and he just decided to go. And Uttanapada, naturally, our Dhruva Maharaj was given the kingdom. Next, I will now read the translation. The greatly powerful Dhruva Maharaja had another wife named Ila, who was the daughter of the demigod Vayu. By her he got a son named Utkala and a very beautiful daughter. So this is history of Dhruva Maharaj. So he is married. First one we already saw. He married
Brahmi.
Brahmi, and the daughter's name is also Brahmi, I think. And then this is the second wife. So and he had a nice. I think I'm not sharing it. I'll share it. Yeah. So. So Ila. So he married and then he got children also. That has also been mentioned. No commentary here. We'll keep going forward. Dhruva Maharaja's younger brother Uttama, who was still unmarried, once went on a hunting excursion and was killed by a powerful yaksha in the Himalaya mountains. Along with him, his mother Suruchi also followed the path of her son. She died. This is what Prabhupada said. So here, if you recognize, during Dhruva Maharaj's darshan with the Supreme Lord, the Lord did mention to him, your son will actually, your brother, elder brother, because he was supposed to get the throne, if you remember, I also talked about that. But then that he will go into some forest for some hunting expedition, and he will be killed by some of the yakshas, and his mother, out of grief for his son, she will also die. That Lord Vishnu, he gave this prediction already, and that is what has happened, and therefore Dhruva Maharaj became the king of that kingdom. Next, when Dhruva Maharaja heard of the killing of his brother Uttama by the Yakshas in the Himalaya mountains, Being overwhelmed with lamentation and anger, he got on his chariot and went out for victory over the city of the Yakshas, Alakhapuri. So this is here. Then why is Dhruva Maharaj a great devotee? Why is he having this passion? This revenge against his brother. This is this kind of thinking will always be there. But then we cannot be splitting hair over such things. These are all natural emotions, and he is actually a Kshatriya. His job is to defend his territory. That is natural for any Kshatriya to do. And particularly when his brother is killed in that battle, he needs to amend things. So I'll read the purport also. Dhruva Maharaj becoming angry, overwhelmed with grief and envious of the enemies was not incompatible with his position as a great devotee. See, that's what Prabhupada is writing. It is a misunderstanding that a devotee should not be angry, envious or overwhelmed by lamentation. Dhruva Maharaja was the king, and when his brother was unceremoniously killed, it was his duty to take revenge against the Yakshas from the Himalayas. So this is the other thing, Devotees means people have an image. Okay, a devotee will be sober all the time, he will be, Hare Krishna, Dandavat Pranam Prabhu, these kind of things. That is there. That is natural for a devotee to be humble and all that. But at the end of the day, a devotee is also naturally a human being with a lot of emotions, feelings and all that. So sometimes, some devotees will be very cheerful, very happy, very joyful, makes a lot of jokes and all that. Some devotees will be very grave all the time like that. That's not the point. It is a question of what is their mood. How are they looking at the whole thing? Are they always thinking in relation to Krishna? So, okay, even though there is one Prabhupada pastime. So when Prabhupada was just going on a flight, so the devotees, his Sishyas, the disciples of Prabhupada, so they were all there. And then normally in a flight, these days you have, for every seat there is a separate video screen, and you watch whatever you want to watch. Those days, in those days, if you have traveled in some buses, they will put one TV in the front behind the driver, and everybody has to watch that thing. You have no choice. You want to sleep also, that thing will be shouting all along, and there was a song and dance happening in that video. So like that in the flight also it was like that, I believe. So that's the thing. So the devotees immediately felt, oh, Prabhupada is also there, how I can watch movie. Then they started taking Prabhupada book and started reading very thing. And slowly they were looking at Prabhupada, what he is doing. And Prabhupada was watching the TV like that. Whatever, that screen, it was there watching. And Prabhupada was laughing in between like that and all. Then what is that? That's I think it's one of the movies of Charlie Chaplin or something like that. So they were very surprised. How come that Prabhupada is watching movie and he's also enjoying this movie like that? They were thinking. So then naturally they also wanted to ask, Prabhupada, is it a movie watching? Is it not okay? But you are watching. Now how can you ask Prabhupada you are watching movie? But then somehow got around to ask him in a different way, and then Prabhupada said, you see, these two, they were doing this natural comedy, this Charlie Chaplin or whoever that one. And he says Krishna is the greatest comedian. So he was actually, when seeing these things, he is reminded of Krishna. So he was actually experiencing, Goloka Vrindavan when he is seeing these material things. So that is at a level of Acharya. That doesn't mean, don't tell me tomorrow, Vidura Madhava asked me to go to movies and therefore, blame it on Vidura Madhava. So I'm not saying that. But I'm saying the mood here is slightly different, that, one should be Krishna consciousness 24/7. That is the point. And as we advance, you will see some, as you go, very senior devotees, they may act sometimes slightly differently when we as practicing sadhakas, Kanishta Adhikaris, we may see, oh, what is this Maharaj doing like this, or why, what is this thing? That is none of our business. We don't understand them. They are in a different plane altogether, and what they see from that plane, we don't get to see that vision. So we should not unnecessarily form opinions in our head, and each one's journey is separate. But then this is there, that devotees also experience different emotions, and here he is doing it as a duty of the the Kshatriya, and Kshatriya Dharma, that is also part of worshipping of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Okay, next verse. Dhruva Maharaja went to the northern direction of the Himalaya range. In the valley, he saw a city full of ghostly persons who were followers of Lord Shiva. So, again, those days, this Himalaya is considered the place where everybody is supposed to go. If you are to do self-realization, go to Himalaya, go towards north. And there are some interesting things actually there. I saw, going towards north, going towards Himalaya. I don't know whether in this section I read or somewhere else I read. This going towards north means we all look at it as India, and then India is the only place, and then you have to go to north, you have to go to the Himalayas. No. Actually, Prabhupada quotes from a very, I forget which scripture it is. It is something to do with Skanda Purana, I think, where Prabhupada is actually making a statement that was very amazing to me to see. There, you're saying you go towards north. I think this I was reading when I was reading this, the Pandavas retire timely. There is one chapter in Bhagavatam where the Pandavas are, after Krishna left this world, left this material world, and he went back to Goloka Vrindavan, the Pandavas also decides to leave. And it is mentioned they are going towards north. Right? And then the normal expectation is India is the only spiritual place, and then from here the north means is Himalayas, and people go to the Himalayas like that. But Prabhupada comments there in that, he is quoting from that, he says, that place is actually described as it is covered on both sides by sea. And where is Himalayas covered on both sides by sea? Prabhupada is asking this question. Therefore, it is not actually simply Himalayas. He says it is going towards the North Pole. So then we understand the greatness of Bharat. See, it's not like we are like sectarian, or we are such a small, we think in terms of India. This, and it is also very clearly mentioned that all these kings, the Pandavas, they ruled over the entire planet. It's not like they simply ruled over India or something like that. So, and the going to the north is actually going towards the North Pole, and there it is two sides covered by sea. Prabhupada is giving that logic, and he says, I think it is like that here, actually mentioned there. Now, for this this particular thing, Prabhupada's purpose, in this verse, it is stated that the Yakshas are more or less devotees of Lord Shiva. By this indication, the Yakshas may be taken to be the Himalayan tribes like the Tibetans. So, the Yakshas could have the the background to be the Tibetans may have the Yakshas as their forefathers in some form and shape. And it is also mentioned the Yakshas are the Yakshas, Kinnaras, there are so many of them. That Yaksha is one of the category of beings, and they are from the basically majority, like generally they are worshippers of Lord Shiva. So now I'll go a little faster. Maitreya continued, my dear Vidura, as soon as Dhruva Maharaja reached Alakapuri, he immediately blew his conch shell, and the sound reverberated throughout the entire sky in every direction. The wives of the Yakshas became very much frightened. From their eyes, it was apparent that they were full of anxiety. This is why to say specifically wives. The women are very, very soft-hearted, and when they understand, they are also very shrewd. So they understand this sound signals death for my husbands. O hero Vidura, the greatly powerful heroes of the Yakshas, unable to tolerate the resounding vibration of the conch shell of Dhruva Maharaja, came forth from their city with weapons and attacked Dhruva. Dhruva Maharaja, who was a great charioteer and certainly a great bowman also, immediately began to kill them by simultaneously discharging arrows 3 at a time. 3 arrows at a time, and they were all like falling like pins. When the heroes of the Yakshas saw that all their heads were being thus threatened by Dhruva Maharaj, they could very easily understand their awkward position, and they concluded that they would certainly be defeated. But as heroes, they lauded the action of Dhruva. This is another nice thing, that the refinement of the consciousness, the advancement in their consciousness. This is amazing. So there's a code of conduct. So when the war is on, that time it will say, let's say between 9 a.m. and 6 p.m. before the sun sets, the war will supposed to end. So there the enmity will be shown, like, like the Maharaj was saying, you rascal, you die. That kind of commentary will be there, that kind of words will be there. But after that time is over, people start having normal relationships. So it could be the enemy camp, and you will have friends in them. You will go and sit with them and have some prasadam together, like, like friends. So this also happened, if you saw, during the Pandavas and the Kauravas in that war. After the war is over, they all can mix with each other and they will be talking, having a laugh together and all these things. So it's very difficult to understand how can, you just now we spoke about emotion, then I will carry on that emotion even during the evening. How come that? But that is the refinement, So very, very, as I think these can be seen. Prabhupada also got, like, there are times when Prabhupada will look like very angry. So everybody will shiver, like very tall. I have seen this, like 7 foot devotees. They themselves feel, wow, this is too much. I can't even stand in front of Prabhupada. But the next second, Prabhupada will be smiling and talking. We can never do that, right? If I am angry, that will take some time to come out of that thing. People will generally not talk when, they are like that. But Prabhupada was not, if he is really angry, then it's difficult to, he will also have to go through that thing. But then you will see sudden change, like, he will look like next, he will look at someone else and smile and talk as though nothing happened. So these things are amazing that, the higher consciousness can change, and maybe they don't even show that anger in that place. So here for all, Dhruva Maharaj, it may be more external. We don't know. We can speculate, but we don't know really what is the mood. But here they are appreciating Dhruva Maharaj's capability, even though their people are dying, their bosses are dying, And that doesn't mean they are going to simply sit quiet and enjoy and clap for Dhruva Maharaj. You will see what's going to happen now. Just like serpents who cannot tolerate being trampled upon by anyone's feet, the Yakshas, being intolerant of the wonderful prowess of Dhruva Maharaj, threw twice as many arrows, 6 from each of their soldiers, and thus they very valiantly exhibited their prowess. They were not novice also. He threw 3 arrows at a time. Each one of them threw 6 arrows at a time, and there were hundreds and thousands of them. But here Dhruva Maharaj is almost alone. The Yaksha soldiers were 130,000 strong, all greatly angry and all desiring to defeat the wonderful activities of Dhruva Maharaja. With full strength they showered upon Maharaj Dhruva, along with his chariot and charioteer, various types of feathered arrows, parigrahas, iron bludgeons, I think those clubs with which you hit a person on the head, nishtrimas, swords, prasusulas, tridents, prashaswadas, lances, shaktis, pikes, ristis, spears, and blusundi weapons. So all these were used, and all against one small young boy, in a way to speak. I don't know how many more years after that, should be very short after his 5-year tenure right there. So 130,000 into 6 arrows coming at you, just imagine how it will be. Dhruva Maharaja was completely covered by an incessant shower of weapons, just as a mountain is covered by incessant rainfall. Here one more purport is there. I think this is the 3rd or 4th purport. That's all we have. Only 3-4 purports here. Srila Vishwanatha Chakravarti Thakura points out in this connection that although Dhruva Maharaja was covered by the incessant arrows of the enemy, this does not mean that he succumbed in the battle. The example of a mountain peaks being covered by incessant rain is just suitable. For when a mountain is covered by incessant rain, all dirty things are washed from the body of the mountain. Similarly, the incessant showers of arrow from the enemy gave Dhruva Maharaja new vigor to defeat them. In other words, whatever incompetency he might have had was washed away. In battle, and you see 6 arrows coming from one person, 130,000 into 6, anyone will be overwhelmed. So maybe there is a little bit of a shaken, Dhruva Maharaj was a little bit shaken, and here Acharya's comment, Vishwanatha Chakravarti's comment, he's saying, Thakura's comment, he's saying, that kind of a little bit of a down gives energy to this great devotee. He takes that as a challenge. Oh, you'll do this, let me rise up above all these things. So those many arrows are covering him completely, and then it's like you feel the game is over. But here the sun will rise. That is the beauty of it. You'll see that. All the Siddhas from the higher planetary systems were absorbing the fight from the sky, and when they saw that Dhruva Maharaja had been covered by the incessant arrow of the enemy, they roared tumultuously, the grandson of Manu, Dhruva, is now lost. They cried that Dhruva Maharaja was just like the sun, and that now he had set within the ocean of the Yakshas. Very nice poetry, right? In this verse, the word Manava is very significant. Generally, this word is used to mean human being. Dhruva Maharaja is also described here as a Manava. Not only is Dhruva Maharaja a descendant of Manu, but all human society descends from Manu. According to Vedic civilization, Manu is the lawgiver. Even today, Hindus in India follow the law given by Manu, Manusmriti. Therefore, everyone in human society is a Manava or a descendant of Manu. But Dhruva Maharaj is a distinguished Manava because he is a great devotee. The denizens of the planet Siddhaloka, where the residents can fly in the sky without airplanes, were anxious over Dhruva Maharaj's welfare in the battlefield. Srila Rupa Goswami says, therefore, that not only is a devotee well protected by the Supreme Lord, but all the demigods and even ordinary men are anxious for his security and safety. The comparison given here that Dhruva Maharaja appeared to merge in the ocean of the Yakshas is also significant. When the sun sets on the horizon, it appears that the sun drowns in the ocean. But factually, the sun has no difficulty. Similarly, although Dhruva appeared to drown in the ocean of the Yakshas, he had no difficulty. As the sun rises again in due course at the end of the night, so Dhruva Maharaja, although he might have been in difficulty, because after all it was a fight, and in any fighting activities there are reverses, that did not mean that he was defeated. So here one small thing is, the Devatas are also very supportive of the devotees. This is very important. I have read elsewhere that if you are doing the work of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, there are thousands of Rishi Munis working for you in the background for your material activities. Whatever is my material responsibilities, right? Not mine, I am not such a great devotee, but I am saying that great devotees, if you are working for the Lord, then somewhere all the great personalities, there's so many devatas, they are working to benefit this devotee. That is that in fact, all the devatas are waiting for a chance to help a devotee. How can I help you? How can I help you? But devotees don't ask them anything. Oh, therefore you please give me this. No, they don't do this. But this is there. We don't have time. Otherwise, I can talk of one more pastime. Maybe if there is time, I will talk about it later. Okay, we'll go forward. The Yakshas, being temporarily victorious, exclaimed that they had conquered Dhruva Maharaj. But in the meantime, Dhruva's chariot suddenly appeared, just as the sun suddenly appears from within foggy mist. So that's the thing, that Dhruva Maharaj, just like it is mentioned, he was submerged in the ocean of the Yakshas. Now he is rising from that. Dhruva Maharaja's bow and arrow twanged and hissed, causing lamentation in the hearts of his enemies. He began to shoot incessant arrows, shattering all their different weapons, just as the blasting wind scatters the assembled clouds in the sky. Very nice poetry. The right kind of, the comparisons are made. The sharp arrows released from the bow of Dhruva Maharaj pierced the shields and bodies of the enemies, like the thunderbolts released by the King of Heaven, which dismantle the bodies of the mountains. The great sage Maitreya continued, "My dear Vidura, the head of those who were cut to pieces by the arrow of Dhruva Maharaj were decorated very beautifully with earrings and turbans. The legs of their bodies were as beautiful as golden palm trees. Their arms were decorated with golden bracelets and armlets, and on their heads there were very valuable helmets bedecked with gold. All these ornaments lying on that battlefield were very attractive and could bewilder the mind of a hero. So you see, all the soldiers, I think in the commentary Prabhupada will be writing that, okay, let's read that. It appears that in those days, soldiers used to go to the battlefield highly decorated with golden ornaments and with helmets and turbans. And when they were dead, the booty was taken by the enemy party. Their falling dead in battle with their many golden ornaments, golden ornamental dresses was certainly a lucrative opportunity for the heroes on the battlefield. Even now also the other opposite team, once they win, they come and loot that other city, right? We have seen this very good example is in our own history. All these Mohammedans, when they came, they conquered and they looted India like anything. Even the Britishers, they looted. The Kohinoor diamond is still somewhere in England and in some museum. It is belonging to us. And even many great temples, those days temples were the places where all the riches were. It is not like in the houses of people. So these people conquered and they looted all these temples like so badly, and many of them went to different countries also, and many of these things happened. We all know those history. So that's all. You can see that similar mentality here also. You see all these fellows chopped off hands, legs. They were all highly decorated. So much gold is there. Naturally, we're not saintly people, right? We have conquered here. I want to take these things, right? The gold. The remaining yakshas, who somehow or other were not killed, had their limbs cut to pieces by the arrows of the great warrior Dhruva Maharaja. Thus they began to flee, just as elephants flee when defeated by a lion. So this is too much to bear. They accept defeat and they run away. Dhruva Maharaja, the best of human beings, observed that in that great battlefield, not one of the opposing soldiers was left standing with proper weapons. He then decided to see the city of Alakapuri, but he thought to himself, no one knows the plans of the mystic yakshas. See, here one word is used, right? No, but not one of the opposing soldiers was left standing with proper weapons. So you don't kill anyone who is not actually weaponized, right? Who is not weaponized, who does not have weapon. That is the code of conduct. So if you don't have weapons, then you won't kill. You have weapons and you are there to kill me, I will kill you. But if you are not having weapons, I will not kill you. This is their code of conduct. And he wanted to see, after all these things, he says, wow, this much of gold and all that, let me go inside that city and see. That should be much more, whatever treasures should be there. And it should be a very beautiful place. These people are very powerful, so they should naturally have a very opulent life. Let me go and see. But he's also wary of these yakshas because they are very highly magicians. These yakshas are very powerful magicians. So they can manifest so many things which could create a lot of problems for him. So he is very careful. 22. In the meantime, while Dhruva Maharaja, doubtful of his mystic enemies, was talking with his charioteer, they heard a tremendous sound, as if the whole ocean were there, and they found that from the sky a great dust storm was coming over them from all directions. So here is the starting of the mystic activities of the yakshas. Within a moment, the whole sky was overcast with dense clouds, and severe thundering was heard. There was glittering electric lightning and severe rainfall. So all this they are perceiving there, Dhruva Maharaj. My dear faultless Vidura, in that rainfall there was blood, mucus, pus, stool, urine and marrow falling heavily before Dhruva Maharaja, and there were trunks of bodies falling from the sky. Next, a great mountain was visible in the sky, and from all directions hailstones fell, along with lances, clubs, swords, iron, bullions and great pieces of stone. Dhruva Maharaja also saw many big serpents with angry eyes vomiting forth fire and coming to devour him, along with groups of mad elephants, lions and tigers. All this is possible. How come suddenly swords will fall from the sky, lions and tigers and serpents? How all these things are possible? Not possible really. Then, as if it were the time of the dissolution, the whole world, the fierce sea with foaming waves and great roaring sounds came forward before him. So all this is like we are watching some, what do you call, a 3D movie, right? Where the screen is looking like all these things are coming right at us directly. The demon yakshas are by nature very heinous, and by their demoniac power of illusion, they can create many strange phenomena to frighten one who is less intelligent. So this is what is happening. This is not real. This is like how we watch movies, right? We ourselves want to go and feel threatened. So we go and sit inside the theater, make it dark, and then all these things start coming, all these whatever, like this we would have seen many movies, right? And many people start screaming sitting in the chair, but we love to go and sit and scream like that, put ourselves in fear, put ourselves with tears. Think of those days when we watched movies, right? You should stand outside that theater just when people are coming out, full mixed emotion, as though they experienced everything really, but they were literally staring at a wall, right? But these are all illusions. So today we have great magicians weaving out such great magic in front of us that we believe we are there. So this is what the yakshas were doing. Next, when the great sages heard that Dhruva Maharaja was overpowered by the illusory mystic tricks of the demons, they immediately assembled to offer him auspicious encouragement. Again, the great people, the great sages are always behind the devotees. So they see, Dhruva Maharaj is getting discouraged, he is getting frightened. We will immediately give our protection to him. All the sages said, Dear Dhruva, O son of King Uttanapada, may the Supreme Personality of Godhead, known as Sarangadhanva, who relieves the distress of his devotees, kill all your threatening enemies. The holy name of the Lord is as powerful as the Lord himself. Therefore, simply by chanting and hearing the holy name of the Lord, many men can be fully protected from fierce death without difficulty. Thus a devotee saved. So this is the purport for our Krishna consciousness, right? This didn't happen in Kali Yuga. Even that time it is mentioned the holy name is the biggest protection for everyone. The great rishis approached Dhruva Maharaj at a time when his mind was very perplexed due to the magical feats exhibited by the yakshas. A devotee is always protected by the Supreme Personality of Godhead. By his inspiration only, the sages came to encourage Dhruva Maharaj and assure him that there was no danger because he was a soul fully surrendered to the Supreme Lord. By the grace of the Lord, if a devotee at the time of death can simply chant his holy name, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Simply by chanting this Maha Mantra, he immediately surpasses the great ocean of the material sky and enters the spiritual sky. He never has to come back for repetition of birth and death. Simply by chanting the holy name of the Lord, one can surpass the ocean of death. So, Dhruva Maharaja was certainly able to surpass the illusory magical feats of the yakshas, which for the time being disturbed his mind. So this happens to all of us also, that we are sometimes spiritual, sometimes we feel weak, we feel, what is this, I am surrounded by so many problems and I am chanting Hare Krishna, these devotees are telling us to chant Hare Krishna, I am chanting, but I have this problem, I have that problem, this is coming on, that is coming on. All these many people say, Prabhu, how can I, my mind is very disturbed, I am not able to chant, I don't feel confident in chanting, so many things like this. But this is all there in material world. This is part of the package. So if we are expecting this material world to become a perfect place, that is like thinking the toilet will be clean. Yes, you can clean it, but again it will have dirt. So this is the nature of the material world. So Prabhupada says many a times, this material world will have its characteristics. You can't simply artificially say that, these problems will not be there, happiness will not be there, everything will be there. But this is completely true also, that by taking the holy name of the Lord, we are given complete protection. So these things will come and go. Worst case is we may even die. That's okay. That is not the point, right? I am a pure spirit soul and I am just going on this journey. My objective is that whatever, good and bad, whatever is going on, my objective is the passing test is I am conscious of the Lord at the time of death. Right? Anta kalecha mameva smaran muktva kalevaram. That is the point. That means at the time of death, if I am able to remember the Supreme Personality of Godhead, then my entire dream is stopped, my entire illusion is stopped, and that is the purpose. And for during that, there will always be so many side stories happening, like some good things happening, we may get so attracted, some bad things may happen, we may get very much frightened. But we should not forget the end game, the objective where we are heading. This journey is there. You will always find nice pastures in bus while traveling, in any train you travel, there will be wonderful green fields. Then suddenly there will be one bridge where the train will go. You will sometimes fear, oh, what will happen? Will I fall down into this thing? Or sometimes you will feel some places where the smell will be so bad, you will close your nose in the train. But that will also pass. Then you will again come to some greenery like this. These things happen. That is part of the journey. But we should not stop going to where we want to go. And that place is the Yad Gatva Nanivartante Taddama Paramam Mama. So our idea is we just keep going forward. This is proved yet again and again and again. There are many incidences, history given by the Lord and the devotees in Srimad Bhagavatam, how devotees are protected all the time, Prabhu. So that is what is our confidence. We need to fall back to Bhagavatam when we have difficult times. Just go and fall at the lotus feet of Bhagavatam. Please protect me. And read Bhagavatam, and Krishna will show within that some nice pastime which will give us that strength, that motivation, that inspiration. I will now get up and walk forward. This is the mood. And our journey is not simply materialistic journey. Our journey is spiritual journey. So we will always be successful. Krishna is saying, no, Swalpamapi asya dharmasya trayate mahato bhayat. We make a little progress in this direction. We are protected from the greatest danger, mahato bhayat. So that is there. So actually, those who are taking up Krishna consciousness is the most safest, most confident process. There is nothing that can beat this process. So with this I end here. Dhruva Maharaj is showing by example that yes, as human beings, we all go through turbulence, but if you catch hold of the holy name of the Lord is protecting us in different ways by the great, devatas, very saintly persons. They are all there to cover our back, as they say in English, someone is there to cover your back. So we are there protected, absolutely protected. All we need to do is take that inspiration, get hold of the hand of the spiritual master or the senior devotees, and the senior devotees or the senior devotees, depending on whether you are initiated, not initiated. Get hold of if you are not initiated, get hold of Srila Prabhupada's lotus feet and move forward. Nothing more is required. We just keep moving forward. So I am also taking inspiration from these things. So I will end here. Thank you very much. If there are any questions, comments, welcome. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji. Thank you, Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna. Thank you very much.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji. Dandavat pranam. Hare Krishna to all devotees assembled here. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Prabhu. Dandavat pranams.
Dandavat pranam, Prabhu. Shri Hari Prabhu. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Prabhuji. Hare Krishna.
Thank you, Prabhuji. Hare Krishna. Wonderful session.
Thank you, Prabhuji. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji. Dandavat pranam.
Glories to Srila Prabhupada. Granthra Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji. Thank you very much. Dandavat pranam.
Hare Krishna, Prabhu. Dandavat pranam.
Dandavat pranam, Prabhu.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji. Dandavat pranams. Thank you. Hare Krishna.
So Srihari Prabhu
Hare
doesn't
Krishna.
do the session, right, Prabhu, or anything else?
Sure, Prabhu. That's it, Prabhu. Today is just Shaktila Ekadashi. Just wanted to announce that.
Yes, Prabhu, please go ahead.
And thank you, Prabhu. Today is Shaktila Ekadashi devotees, and today at 10 o'clock we have a program on Ekadashi. So please do join, where we explain about the importance of Ekadashi and the story of Shaktila Ekadashi. We can hear at 10 o'clock in the morning. Okay. So the links we would have, I'll post it in the morning English Gita. Thank you. Hare Krishna. Thank you, Prabhu.
Thank
Hare
you.
Krishna.
Prabhu.